back, folks, to another episode of Business from the Bass Boat Podcast on the Serious Angler Network, presented by the one and only Rec Lending. And I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. It was wonderful here in Boise, Idaho. It was very hot, 100-something degrees, but made for a great time to float the river and enjoy not as much serious fishing, more just hanging out and having a good time with friends and family. So hopefully everyone had a safe and fun 4th of July. And if you did fish, it was probably early morning before the crowds hit the lakes, because most parts of the country, I'm sure there was a lot going on. But we are kind of at a good time of year, in my opinion, for tournament news. We've got, of course, ICAST coming up, and it's that July, everything's pushing north, but then you start to get hints of schedules and changes and things coming about. Well, one that broke today, Monday, July the 8th, I saw a post from both Ken Ma as well as Bass Angler Magazine, the BAM Trail, about some changes to the Pro Tour in 2025. And so I thought, better to see if we can get someone on quickly, which doesn't always happen. But Mr. Mark pulled through, and we got the man behind it all, Mr. Mark Lazang. How's
Hey,
it going, Mark?
good. Going great.
Heck yeah, man. Well, how was your 4th of July?
It was good. 4th of July was kind of hanging out at home. On the 3rd, we went over to the River Cats game in Sacramento. It was like 108 degrees. I was soaking wet. It was so hot, but a good game. Had a nice cold margarita. It was a lot of fun. So and then
I
4th
had
of July, I just kind of hung out.
I had plenty of those. I'm a margarita aficionado, tequila aficionado in general. Big fan of margaritas, so I'm right there with you. Had a couple of those to cool down as well.
Yeah, it has to be blended. Just
Okay, you're a blended guy?
something about a margarita just needs to be blended. And we were in Arizona or Oregon a couple weeks ago, and there's nobody makes blended margaritas anymore. They all want to do it on ice. So we
Well,
found
maybe
one
I'm
spot. We frequented that spot a few times.
now we're talking. I every once in a while, okay, I'll go for a blended margarita every once in a while, but I'm new school. I'm an ice guy. I'd prefer it to be on ice, with some salt on the
Okay.
rim or tahini or whatever else. But yeah, maybe that's a new school thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe old school. It's like for me, it's like a Slurpee with some alcohol. So it's pretty
That's a
good.
good point. Speaking of which, I was talking with a friend this weekend. That's kind of funny. We were talking about, like, okay, what about a great business idea is all your childhood drinks that you loved, right? Like, think about it, like a Capri Sun, or I don't know, a Sunny D, all these different brands, which I think they actually started. But what if we just started turning them into alcoholic beverages and then just selling those and marketing, like, you know, your favorite childhood drinks, but with alcohol in them?
Yeah, then it'd be cool again, right?
Then it'd be cool again. Exactly. And you'd
Yeah,
have the nostalgia, right? Of like remembering that as a kid. Now you can drink with your friends with some alcohol involved. So yeah.
cool. Yeah. Maybe we'll serve those at a ham tournament.
Yeah. Now we're talking. Well, yeah. Well, Mark, I just wanted to first of all, thank you for coming on so quick and short notice. I know you're a busy guy and you've got a busy next couple of weeks with ICAST and everything else that you do in the fishing world. But man, I guess to start things off, I think we dig into how so far 2024 is going, taking over the tournament organization, starting a new tournament organization with Bass Angler Magazine, and man, I've watched some of the coverage. Again, I was someone who was on the fence. Sad I did not do it this year, and more than anything, just wanted to hear how things are going overall. What you've learned as a tournament director now, been a tournament angler for quite some time, but we're halfway through roughly your season. What are things looking like 2024 so far with the BAM?
Well, I tell you, it's starting to get easier to run these tournaments. The first couple were, oh man, it was rough. I have to say, not because of any problems, just because I didn't know how to do it. It's kind of like, you've pumped gas in your car for years and years, but now you got to run the gas station. Well, that's a whole different thing. So people told me, "Oh, you've been fishing tournaments for years; it'll be easy." Oh no, wrong. It was quite the job, but it's starting to get easier, starting to figure it out, getting my logistics straight. I'm going to say at Lake Shasta we had 14 people there. I had 14 people working Lake Shasta. So the
Wow.
last event I had five. So
Okay.
I had to cut that down. I mean, you can't afford to have 14 people at a tournament. It just
No.
just doesn't make sense financially. It's nice that you have all these extra people to take care of things, but the cost part of it is prohibitive.
Mhm,
So I'd
mhm.
say the year is going well. Boat count has been, I won't say disappointing, but it's been low. And I talked to a few companies, a few of our sponsors that said, listen, it's your first year. You know, things that have happened to other circuits in the past, and it's your first year. You're just getting started. Nobody knows how you're going to do, what's going to happen. So give it a little time. Don't get upset about it. Just keep working. And so I just keep, pretty much delivering on everything that I promised. And they said it's going to come around. And I think this year will be much better. I think the year after will be better than that. So
Yeah.
some of the things we delivered on was, I mean, media. I got now we're up to 126,000 people on Facebook. We reach 1 million people a month. Our YouTube has grown from 3,000 to 36,000.
Holy
Um,
cow. That
yeah,
is
and we're
moving.
getting I don't know what it is. I don't. It's hundreds of thousands of hours of view time every month. I don't know the exact amount, but it's like I look at it and I'm like, oh my god, look at all those people watching our YouTube. It's crazy. We delivered our first TV show. We're doing live events. I mean, and the live events are very professional. We do them two different ways. We do them one on Facebook, which is just live. Here it is, what we're doing, and then we have another one that goes on YouTube where we play our sponsors commercial. It's professionally produced. We follow the camera follows the angler. We get good pictures, really good coverage. So we do live coverage in two different fashions. We've done 500 plus pictures at every event, and we put these out. We put them up on Facebook where the anglers can go use them. They can go grab these pictures and use them for their sponsors, use them for their social media or anything they like. And I'm thinking, who does that? I don't know if anybody does that. Some circuits do a few pictures. Even MLF and Bass don't do hundreds and hundreds of pictures that they put up. They'll probably do
Mhm.
quite a few, but they don't put them out there where the guys can use them. So we're really working towards angler sponsor friendly circuit that we're helping the anglers, we're working with the sponsors, trying to mend everything together and really build the best circuit that the West Coast has ever seen.
Yeah. No, well, first of all, I commend that approach. And I think that's something that we may have talked about on or off air a year and a half ago was just how do we make the West Coast a better situation? And how do you make it a better situation for anglers? And that's to professionalize it and bring in sponsors also from anglers, right? If you
Right.
can bring in and have sponsor income as a part of your package as an angler, which is hard to do. I'm not going to say it's an easy thing to do, but it's a thing that can launch your career so much further and allow you to travel to these tournaments because let's face it, at the end of the day, I don't care who you are at any level. There's very few people that can make a living fishing tournaments, number one, or can be profitable year after year consistently, right? Like you may have a good year and do well, but at the end of the day, you got to have that support, in my opinion, if you're going to be in it for the long haul, or you have to have the funds outside of that. If that's a business that you have that's
100%.
allowing you to do that, that's just my take. And so I commend that approach, and I think that it's a good way to get guys going, right? And I think right in your pro series you have to have a wrap as a part of the requirements to fish, correct?
Right. You have to have an approved jersey and you have to have a wrap boat, not a wrap vehicle, but a wrap boat. So when we're out there filming these boats, we want them to look professional. We want the angler to look professional, which helps a lot. I've also created a deck for the anglers. that they can use that to bring to sponsors, to help, try to, get some money. I've mentored a few of the guys on, things they need, the professional page, kind of what to put on that page, and get themselves to be a professional angler. Because if you don't put anything out there and you don't ask for it, you're never going to get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? I
No
mean, you
doubt.
can't expect to sit on your living room floor and have somebody give you your dream job. You
No.
need to go out and get it.
Right.
That's just the cold hard facts. I mean, I've done very well with sponsors,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never won a major tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But they see that I have a good audience, and I project things out to them. I get out to the audience, and I influence a good number of people. So within that, before the tournament circuit and everything else, I had a good number of sponsors that were helping me out. So and that is getting out there and asking for it, and working the platform that also worked with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Absolutely.
part of our goal. And also something else that we're doing, and at each event we're reaching out to local media. We don't they don't always come out, because some people are like, bass fishing, they don't come out. But some of the news agencies are like, hey, this is new and different. What is this? I haven't seen these guys before. So we're reaching out to local media, local TV, and we've been on TV 5 or 6 times. And the goal is to get bass fishing, us, there's a synergy, us, bass fishing and anglers, into just the regular household. The people that don't fish, that might go, wow, this is kind of cool. Maybe something I want to do. Maybe they want to take their kids out fishing. Let's get into it. Maybe they'll come to an event. If we can build bass fishing on the West Coast,
Mm-hmm.
and for every person we get into it, it's going to help. It's going to sell another rod and reel, some lures. They get really into it. They're buying a truck, they're buying a boat. Now we're stimulating the bass fishing economy, along with building the sport for us.
Totally. Yeah, no, I think that's a great approach, and I don't think anyone else is doing that, right? As far as reaching out to news organizations and trying to get that additional coverage. Super helpful to an angler that is fishing and can take that to his sponsors and say, look, here was, you know, Channel
Yeah,
4 covered me at this event because I was the winner
right.
or whatever it may be. So love the synergy, love all that is doing for the anglers. Now, I really liked how the schedule was spread out across the West. I know a lot of people, and at times I'm the same way of like, drives suck. But I did really like how this year things went. Obviously you kind of got that Northern Colorado synergy or Northern California synergy, and that's where there's
Yeah,
a big angler base. But you made the trip down all the way to Martinez Lake in Arizona and then to Boardman, the pro am so far, and then soon to be the pro tournament there. Um, I love the idea of spreading stuff out and making a true tour style event. How was that this far? Kind of traveling that distance with the trailer, everything. How has seeing different states and that sort of a thing been for the tournament organization?
it's a lot of work. If we had all the events in Northern California, it'd be really easy because that's where I live.
Right.
But it doesn't. It's not conducive to the sponsors, the communities, or the anglers. It's because there's a group of anglers that really knew Martinez, and there's a group of anglers that know Boardman. So it what we do is we're trying to balance these out. We're going to Oroville After Bay. We go to the California Delta. So there's different anglers that have different strengths in different bodies of water. So we're trying to spread these out, distance wise and time wise, for them all. Some guys are like, it's too far, I can't do it. And there's other guys like, I really like it. It's spread out. It gives us all a chance. I mean, we had Colby Pearson from Oregon won Martinez. Then he went to Almanor in the middle of the lake. It's a lake. One was a shallow, largemouth river. The other was a smallmouth lake, and he won both events. Well, now we're going to Oregon in his backyard. So, he didn't do real well in the program, did okay, but not real well.
Mhm.
So we'll see, how that plays into it. I can't imagine him winning three in a row, but we'll see. Uh,
That's
be
right.
pretty
People
crazy.
get on heaters, man, and I loved, watching that and watching him get after it. I know he was kind of on that of on the fence, wasn't sure, job-wise, everything else, "Can I go fish this?" And, man, he's killing it. So that's been
He
cool to
does.
watch.
He's done very well, and he's one of those guys. He's like my model.
Okay.
He's a
Yeah.
good looking guy, dresses well, his boat truck looks good. Look at his he has a nice website, a nice social media. And a lot of guys are like, well, what do I need to do? Go look at Colby Pearson. Look at what he's doing and
Yeah.
model after him, and you'll be
Love it.
fine.
Love
He
it.
does a really good job, well spoken, and he's a humble guy. He's not like, oh, I'm all that, He's just really good. I mean, I'm fortunate that in the tour that I don't know if there's anybody that's very arrogant. All of them are really easy to
Good.
work with. They all love the exposure of trying to give many of them camera time as possible. It's really really a good bunch of guys.
That's fantastic.
Now we're working to move this. Probably one of your next things you're going to work on.
Yeah.
We're working to move this from 30 to 60.
Yeah. So
Change.
this season, 30 boats is the, amount that signed up or and got in, the invite qualified for what has been the BAM Pro Tournament Trail, right, for
Right.
2024. So, announcement today was a big one, and, I saw it, had a super busy Monday coming back from a holiday weekend, as do many people work-wise, and it was like, "Whoa, this is some big news. We gotta chase this down a little bit." So, now for the West Coast, got the Super 60 was the announcement today. So,
Right.
big headline, $50,000 first place cash prize at each qualifier. So big headline, big number. Like, wow, what is going on here? So, let's dig into that. I mean, how did you come to, this, realization? What you felt like the West Coast needs in 2025? Let's hear about, the decision behind everything, because I know yourself as a very analytical guy, and you take into account a lot of different factors and what makes the most sense. So I'm super intrigued to get into your brain on where all these answers came about.
A lot of it comes listening to the anglers, right? I mean, because what I want and what they want may not always be the same thing. What I want as an angler is one thing, and what I want as a business owner is another. I mean, at some point in time, we need to make some money. Otherwise,
Right.
everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
That's right.
So Bill O'Shin came to me. He goes, "Oh, we need to talk at Almanor. I got some ideas." And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, And I'm going to say, owning a print magazine for 20 years, everybody has an idea of how, if I do this, you're going to sell a million magazines. And if you do this, this is going to happen. And I won't say I shoved it off, but I was like, okay, I mean, I'm going to listen to him. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, another great idea. Um, but he ended up getting sick at the tournament, so we never got a chance to get together. So he goes, "Oh, I'll send you an email." I go, "Okay." So he sent me an email with this proposal, $50,000 for first place, and then broke the payout down. And I was like, "Wow, that's interesting." Now, how do I get there? He goes, "Change entry fee to 2,500. You pay back 90%. Have 60 guys, and the first place prize is 50 grand." So it drops, significantly after that. And then on 20th, we're going to play a third of the field. Then 20th place gets 3 grand. Then
Okay.
25th gets 35, and it just kind of goes up from there. But 50 grand is a big deal. I mean, you win one tournament, your season is more than paid for.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Bill O'Shin came up with this idea. I brought it up to a couple other people, and they were like, "This is this is industry changing. This would be an industry changing event if this happened.
Mm,
This is, because nobody pays 50 grand cash. That's crazy, right? 60 guys, you're fishing against 59 other guys for 60 grand. So it's
mhm.
not fishing against 150 other guys. You're fishing only against 59 others. And if you
Got it.
finish in the top 20, you're getting your money back plus a little bit. So
Mhm.
you still got a good shot at getting some money back.
Sure. Okay. So what this kind of reminds me of to some extent was NPFL had their payout set. And then basically right before kind of the season started, I like how this is way in advance, but they changed it to
Mm-hmm.
$100,000 payout, right? And I think their entry fee is 5 grand, kind of a thing. And then same deal, they reduced the payout further down. What I like, first of all, number one, I like how you always give the true percentage of the payback. A 90% payback is massive in tournament fishing right now. Number one, but I like the transparency, but people like that big number. At the end of the day, that is what people like. Like they like the idea of chasing that big cash
Right.
prize. And it's the truth, right? Like we saw the NPFL registration picked up. Those types of things happened. My question, so first is 50,000. What does it drop to for second and then maybe for 10th? Say you top 10 at 10 one of these, or if you finish second, third, or fourth, is it what's the
Second,
drop off
second
there?
is 10,000.
Oh, okay.
Second
That's
is
a good way to
10,000, and then I'm gonna have to look to find out what the rest of them are. Give me
got
one
it.
second. So, oh, I got it all figured in a spreadsheet. So it goes. Second would be 10, then 7, 6, 5. Let's see. Fifth is 5,400. 10th is 4,500.
Okay. Got it. Got it. So you're walking away pretty positive finishing in a top 10. You're
And
certainly paying.
I have to say, and I'm not the guy that's going to tell you. I'm I'm more of a doer than a talker. I'd rather just do it and not tell you all about it. But this is without any extra sponsor money coming in. This is
Mm,
pure payback. Pure 90% payback. So I mean, there's a possibility because of what we deliver at BAM. We're I'll say we're different. I don't want to say bigger because we're not bigger in angler base, but our media base is larger than anybody else out there.
mm,
So we have the ability to deliver to external companies, out of industry companies on things that they may look for. I mean, I went to one casino and talked to them about our event, and they go, "Wow, your media is giant. We'd love to have you here." I was like, "Oh, that felt good." I talked to a sponsor just the other day, a big name sponsor, big brand, and I gave them a proposal, and they said, "Well, that's a little more than we usually spend." They go, "But your BAM, your media is way higher." I was like, that really made me feel good.
mhm,
It's like, wow, thank you, I appreciate that. We didn't sign a deal yet, but they at least had a positive outlook, and that was an out of industry company. So if I
mm.
can get a few out of industry companies, usually they have more liquid funds than say a fishing brand, because a lot of them don't have a lot of money to put out for sponsorships.
Well, and everyone just competes for them, right? I mean, you think about it, all the same industry players are competing for those dollars.
You think about Parpol. I mean, like Parpol, they are an amazing company. I mean, they're really good with their press releases. Their products awesome, and the people there are amazing. Customer service is crazy, but
Mhm.
they sponsor like so many circuits. I'm like, how do you guys do this? It's crazy. And they're sponsoring us too, also. So they advertise in the magazine and they sponsor our trail. So I'm it's like I'm amazed at like a company like that. How do they do that?
Totally. No,
I
yeah,
need to
I
get into
agree.
their business model a little bit, maybe mirror some of that.
No joke. They seem to do very well, and I totally agree. I have nothing but positive things to say about Power Pole. I've got them on my boat, and everything has always been working. And if there is any issues, they immediately take care of it. Just super great customer service, just good people. It sure seems like.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's and then Bass Boat Technologies, they're our title sponsor. Those guys are amazing. I reached out to them today and said, I need to get a steering wheel spacer for my boat. And then I go, oh shoot, my boat's in Oregon, so I couldn't find it. So they send me over a picture. They go, a guy has a Basscat Puma STS, and he just ordered one. He ordered this one. I was like, oh great. So I ordered that one for my boat, but because my
Nice.
boat wasn't even here, I couldn't get one. But customer service like that, our sponsors, you know, uh, Bass Boat Technologies, we had Tackle Warehouse. I mean, they
Big time.
sponsor MLF, but I think we're the only other circuit that they sponsor. And those guys are amazing. I don't know if you ever had to send anything back to Tackle Warehouse. They give you a slip and you slap it. You put whatever you stuff in the package, put the receipt in there, put the slip on it, and it ships back. And then pretty soon they get a credit on your credit card. It's like,
See, my problem is, Mark, when I order tackle, I get it in, I open it up, and I always look at that little slip and go, maybe I should return something. And I look at it, and I'm like, I'm not really going to use this. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to. Maybe I will one day. So then I end up with way too much tackle, and I've got
I
just
have a lot of
gobs and
tackle like
gobs
that
of it.
also.
It's a problem. Um, but man, so that's how it came about. The $50,000 payout. We've got the $2,500 entry fee, which I believe is only $250 more, right, from what it was. Wasn't it
Right.
2,200 or 2,250 something like
2250 now. Yep.
that? Okay, okay, and then basically, yeah. So last check and paying out a third at $3,000, and then there's a 60 angler field. So I think this is probably the biggest question people have is, uh, well, there was 30 that fished this year. How is the additional 30 going to be filled? Goals to get to 60, maybe a max of 65. Why that number? What are kind of the details there?
So we have 30 that are coming in from last year. I'm assuming that the majority of them will come back.
Okay.
They're most of them were really excited. Not everybody, but it's not for everybody.
Mhm.
And then we're going to take the top 10 from our pro am circuit, and then we have some invites going out to other people. So we're leaving those undisclosed at the moment, and
Okay.
we're working on those. Will go out this week. So those people who get them, they'll know they have them, and then we give them a couple weeks to decide what. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to do it really simple and easy. Is basically if a guy gets an invite in the next couple weeks, he just needs to give us $250 to hold his spot.
Okay.
So we're not asking for thousands or anything like that. We want to make sure that if that you're going to be in and your name is on the roster, you need to put that initial deposit down.
Mhm.
So it'd be a membership to the tournament trail, and $250.
Got it.
So it'll all be in a letter that's explained. I have a package that's going to go out. We're going to mail these packages out. Should be tomorrow or Wednesday. So guys that will know in the next few days.
Got it. Very
Before
cool.
ICAST, so the idea was to get this out before ICAST. Last year, the whole buzz at ICAST was like, "You're starting a tournament circuit? What's going on? How's all this?" So now it's going to be like, "Hey, your tournament circuit's going well," and I hear that from guys back east quite often, which is very nice. And
No
this year will
joke.
be like, "You're going to do 50 grand for each qualifier?" Yeah, so if even let's say something crazy happened and we didn't get to 60, if we got to 50, we could still give away a significant cash prize.
Hmm. Hmm. Totally.
So
Totally.
yeah.
Got it. Awesome.
Um,
Awesome. Well, that's
and
great to
then
hear.
at the end of the year, so the end of the year championship will have an entry fee, but we should be able to pay back 150% of that entry fee back to the
Okay.
anglers.
And that's limited. So that'll be 30 guys at the
That'll be
championship. So
30 guys fishing the
half the
championship.
field. and you have to fish all of the events the entire season to make the championship, and you can't just jump into one in these.
You can pay for one
Okay.
and not show up where you get last place points, but your chance of making it is going to slim way down.
Right. Right. No, so you better be fishing all of them.
Yeah, you should
As
just
far
fish
as
them all.
right. Right.
I,
Okay.
I mean, and besides the chance to win 50K or even 3,000 if you have a somewhat rough event, we have TV coverage. We have a lot of media. I'll say, while West was around before and they had Apex, I fished the Apex tour, and I did really well with my sponsors because I got on TV, because I went and I seeked out the camera guy. I'm like, hey, let's do a morning interview. Let's get something. You want pictures of my truck and boat or what? That media is valuable and it pays dividends for years and years to come.
Hmm. No, there's no doubt about that. I've started to learn that is like making friends with the camera guys, really good thing to do. Very important thing to do. And especially when they're genuine and they're fun and good people. But
Sure.
it's totally a big part of it all and makes the complete package for kind of the current professional angler in the world right now. So this is all awesome stuff. I mean, so 90% payback at the qualifiers, 150 at the championship. So then the entry fee of the championship will also be same $2,500 entry fee.
2,500. I mean,
Okay.
unless something crazy happens and we get a big sponsor comes in and says, "Hey, I want to help out and do this." It's like the Angler of the Year prize. Take a little bit out of everybody's check throughout the year. It ends up going to be about 6,000. But there's a possibility of increasing that through a sponsor. When
Right.
they
You
get
get
an
a
Angler of the Year sponsor. I haven't put that out to any of them yet,
yeah.
but that's a possibility.
No doubt. No, love it. I think that's something that I've always loved is it seems like in the tournament space, whether it be the Bassmaster Opens, the Toyota Series, One Bass, even your local stuff, I have found that seems to be a fairly easy. I don't know why, but it seems like sponsors step up for that Angler of the Year package. I think they understand it as like, hey, this is someone who's been consistent for the entire year, and we want to reward them.
Sure.
Um, and it keeps people invested and in a role for the end of the year race. So I'm hoping that can happen for you too, because that makes for fun stuff. That Angler of the Year prize. I think that's
Sure.
as we all as anglers always respect that, maybe more so than someone who wins a big one or something like that, because it's just like, hey, this guy catches them everywhere we go
All year long. Yeah.
all year long. Awesome. Okay. And then still gonna be so I did watch the first BAM event on YouTube as far as the full hour-long show that was on TV and everything else as the shortened down event from that perspective. I will say I loved it. And here's a big reason why is I grew up watching Bassmaster 1 hour, FLW 1 hour, events. And I love live events now. Don't get me wrong. As far as a true live 8 hour Bassmaster day, I will sit there and I love it. But I miss the shortened fish catch. And I think there's a need for that quicker show of action, action, action happening at once. There's no one else really doing that in the market anymore. And that was such a fun part of growing up, of watching all of that. And I understand you miss a lot at times, but you get the audience to stay engaged the entire time, if that makes sense.
It does. And I really wanted to do a 1 hour show so I can get more coverage on more anglers.
Hmm.
Half an hour, you run down to 22 minutes with commercials. You're really cramming the angler in there and you're not getting the perspective or what the angler might be thinking or doing. I really, being publishing BAM, I really got into the how to part of bass fishing. I would like guys to walk away entertained by the show, but then also learn a couple things.
Totally.
They listen to Greg talk about, well, it's so much about confidence and changing and using your gut intuition and changing with that. Or Colby Pearson about how I was filming with Colby Pearson. He's throwing a spinnerbait down the bank, and he comes to a little corner, and he picks up his glide bait, and bam, catches one. Made one cast with it,
I saw
right?
that.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that cast made it on the show. I was like, wow, that was really cool. And it was kind of, and I you probably should elaborate on it, but what made you turn and think throw a glide bait right there? For him, he probably caught a glide bait fish in a similar situation at one other time in his life, coming around a corner, seeing how maybe the current came around and threw it. But what I'm trying to do with the 1 hour show is give angler insights so guys can learn things also, get more anglers coverage.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, with this 60 boat field, I know a couple of these went to a couple of smaller lakes that you generally don't see with a large field, your traditional Western lakes necessarily. Again, like I said, I also loved how you came over to Oregon, loved how you went down to Arizona and have kind of spread and made this a true tour out west. And so, as far as for scheduling 2025, I know the West Coast has kind of their own process, at least in California, especially. Billy came on the show with One Bass and talked about they've got their schedule out for 2025. Where are you at with that? Are you hitting some of these same bodies of water? What's changing times a year? Can you give us anything as far as where things sit currently?
It'll be a little bit similar than this year, you
Okay.
know, not totally, we're thinking
Okay.
Arizona, California, Oregon,
Mm,
and then probably another one here in California, possibly Washington, Idaho.
now
A
we're
lot of
talking.
this,
Speaking
so
my language.
when you pay back 90%, you're not generating enough dollars in that 10% to pay to run the tournament.
Mhm.
So we need to work with communities that will also help out. So, which is really a win-win. It helps us financially, but it also helps us with media, with the audience. Lake Almanor, we worked really good with the Lake Almanor Chamber and the Feather River Tourism Association. Hard for me to
Mhm.
say that. Um, but both of those entities really helped. They got a lot of people out at the event. They came to the event. One of the ladies brought coffee in the morning and like breakfast burritos in the afternoon. They brought ice to ice down the fish tanks. Just it made for a really well run event. Also at Boardman Parks, and the chamber was really good up there. One of the ladies, Helen from the chamber, came out and sang the national anthem every morning. She got up 5 o'clock. She was a trooper. She came out there at 5 o'clock and sang the national anthem and was very good, by the way. George from the parks, he came out. He brought ice. Because the water, it was hot there, so the water got hot. So he brought ice to cool the water down. Better survival rate on the fish. Better release rate. So they really, and they were there to help out a lot. In which, it makes it a fun event, and makes it affordable that we can put on this event.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so when do you have an idea of when you will have this schedule put together or released as far as for the Super 60, which love the name by the way. Makes me think of the old, old events and everything in fishing. But with the Super 60, the Pro-Ams and then the kayak tour, do you have any idea when those events will the schedules will be available?
Well, we go to the game Fish and Wildlife Jamboree is this Friday
Okay.
in
Right.
Sacramento. So we'll sit down. They have what they do is they put 12 calendars on the wall, and they put all the dates that everybody wants. So if I go there and my dates are open, then I'll be good and I'll know exactly what we have. If not, then and what always happens is that there's different events on different dates, and we'll have to figure that out. They'll say, "Well, I can move my date." I'll say, "Well, I could move my date," and we'll hash it out and figure that out to where we get to the best point possible.
Totally. Totally.
So right now I'm working where I'm in between One Bass and MLF, trying to be at least 3 or 4 weeks away from these other events.
Okay.
Just, I mean, for as an angler perspective, I mean, you might go, wow, I really wanted to fish MLF, one best, and your pro ams. Well, but if you stack them all together, now I have to choose. So I'm trying to make it easier. So if you want to fish them all, or you want to fish, one bass and us, or us and MLF, then you have that opportunity. There's enough time in between that you can, gather enough money, gather enough time, and be able to go fish these.
100%. No, I like that thought process. And
I'm trying. It doesn't always work out. This year it worked out really good. Like for Ish, it wasn't on top of any of his open dates, which was really
crazy to
wonderful.
think about.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping that I'm hoping we can figure that out again this year, because there's a few guys back east that have inquired about fishing the new Super 60.
100%, man. When you start throwing this stuff out, your guys who have come from the West, certainly start thinking that way. I mean, Ish is one of those guys that's always been, I loved how he has always had, the multiple rig situation, and he'll be out here and then he'll fish the opens and leave a boat back and that kind of thing. I think you may see more of that. And I think you may see guys who borrow a boat, right? You see that very often. They come back and borrow a boat when they come back east to fish. And when you start throwing around a
As
pro
long as
tour
it's
that's
wrapped,
paying out
as long as
50
it's
grand,
wrapped with their stuff, yeah, wrapped with their stuff.
there you go.
Um,
Got to have that
it
wrap. That's
might
right.
be hard to wrap your buddy's boat and have him use it while,
No,
while
no
you're
joke. You might have to pay him to be able to wrap his boat.
off. Yeah.
You'll love it. Love it. No, but I think that that's going to attract a lot of things. I mean, I think it's huge news for the West Coast, something that I love to see being out here and everything else like that. So I can't wait to see it all as these details unfold. Um, but man, any other thoughts as we kind of wrap things up
You
here?
know what?
Looking forward.
I'll tell you what's been really cool is that I've had a number of guys call me over the last couple weeks, and we have a number of pro am guys that are really want to fish the BAM Pro Tour. And before anybody even knew about the Super 60 and the 50K,
Very cool.
guys like Kenneth Cleveland, Wyatt DeBusk, maybe Chris Parks. Those guys are a pro am. They're in our top 10 right now. I know they're really interested in making the tour. So
100%.
that's exciting that they wanted to do it even before we made this new announcement. So I'm thinking this is going to spur things along. And, around the first week in August, we'll have a really good idea how many people we have. And then, go towards our next step of, sending invites or recruiting more people.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Love it, man. Well, that's great to hear, and great to hear the pro am folks getting excited and getting ready to get after it if they have the chance, of course, in 2025. So we've got a couple events left for the pro tour. We've got Boardman, right, and
Right.
then let's see. Then I had the schedule up. Okay, here we go. Boardman, and then the Afterbay, and then the championship on the California Delta.
Correct.
What are you looking forward to with everybody chasing those events down in the coming weeks?
Boardman is I mean, I just love the Columbia River. That's like one of my favorite fisheries. I'm going up there 2 days early so I can fish a little bit. I
Now
need
we're talking.
my fishing fix.
Yeah.
Then we come back to the Afterbay, which is really a diverse fishery. I mean, you
Okay.
can catch them finesse, not real deep because it's not real deep, but you can catch them a little bit deeper, on finesse baits. It could be amazing top water. It could be flipping, punching, frogging. It's a pretty unique fishery. I know Ken Ma won the Apex event up there. I had a top five. I was catching him drop shotting, and he was punching. So two totally different things, which is cool. Then we'll have the Delta after that, and Delta in the fall, which is this fall has been really good in the Delta. It's
Mm,
been a really fun time. I actually went out with Ken Ma a couple times this last fall, and we caught 30, 40 fish, 15 to 18 pounds, pretty easy, and a lot of fun. So I'm hopeful that the Delta is going to be a fun fishery for all the guys. think the fall it fishes a little bit better, fewer seals. The vegetation's coming back, and I think it'll be good.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, super excited to see how that all shakes out, watching the AOY race and everything else there. And man, more than anything, just pumped to see the progress, Mark, and chasing stuff down, and appreciate the humility and always talking through like, hey, look, this is a business. We have to make money. We want the best for anglers, 90-10 split. Here's what it looks like. And hopefully people gravitate towards that, because I think what you're doing is certainly special.
Thanks. Yeah, we're here. I mean, we're here to stay. So we have the what I don't know what you call it, but we're here to stay. We have what it takes to stay here. I think we have the anglers behind us, and it's going to do nothing but grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome, man. Well, Mark, have a good rest of your week. Good luck with all the travels up to Boardman here shortly, as well as ICAST, then Boardman, rather.
Yeah,
So I will not be at ICAST this year, but enjoy it and enjoy all the festivities and tackle talk while you were there. And yeah, man, looking forward to it. And we'll have to catch up soon to once the schedule is released and get all the details out.
sounds good. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. We'll see you later.